and welcome back to Crystal Clear Moments. I have here today a special guest. Okay, I've been hunting this brother down. I have asked him several times to be on Crystal Clear Moments, and he's told me yes. He hasn't blew me off. It's just trying to capture him and wrangle and bring him in. So I am super excited and very grateful that you have given my podcast this time. So without further ado, I have Junior Spivey here. He is Mr. Baseball. I don't think you know this, but my family, we're baseball lovers. Like, I go to the baseball game with my husband. We keep score. We're old school. We know how to do baseball. But definitely some facts about Junior. So before I get into his facts, I want to say, and I think you and I talked about this off mic, you ride under the radar. Like, there's not a lot of information about Junior out there. I like that about you,
No, it's not about me. I never wanted any of the attention.
Yeah.
I love doing what I did, and I love sports in general. So
yes, and that humility comes through because I try to do a little research just so that I have some meat on my bone here, so I can offer something to my listeners. And I got high level stuff. I mean, it did you justice. For an example, I mean, you spent 14 years dedicating your life to being the art of baseball. 5 years in the league.
Yes.
You were part of the inaugural team for the Diamondbacks. That's huge. 2002 All-Star team. So, I mean, you've got some stats, that is something that's worthy of bragging about. Beautiful wife, 2 handsome sons, doing a lot of things, huge advocate in the community, entrepreneur, philanthropist, you're a give back kind of guy, but you got to dig for your stuff. So tell me, how do you stay out of all of the details of people's lives?
Well, a lot of the things that I do, it's behind closed doors, and there's no cameras around. There's no media around to capture those moments. It's just me doing what I do, and I got that from my dad. My dad did a lot, and he wasn't looking for any attention, so that's just kind of how I roll. So
I like that. I do get that sense from you. Yeah. I think the first time I met you, I got that sense that you were that kind of person, very similar to how my husband is, just a very laid back, secure, humble guy, just doing what he needs to do, don't really need the recognition, don't need the stroke. You're already self-secure. You don't really need that. I really do like that. I like the way that you show up. But we're getting ready to get into some of your business. Are you okay with that?
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do it. So you talked about your dad. So I take it that you were junior because your dad's a senior. And your son,
Ernest
you have a third.
Lee Spivey Jr.
So does anybody call you Ernest?
Yeah, there's quite a few people. Mac Newton, he would call me Ernest.
Why is that?
He said he refused to call a grown man junior.
I get that, right?
He said he refused to do that.
Right.
So it was Mac and my basketball coach, Willie T. Kelly. He would call me Ernest. He would never call me Junior. But there's a few people that call me Ernest, and I'm cool with that. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. So that's that's your nickname.
Yeah,
well, you just came up under
basically.
Junior.
I was Junior my whole life, and it kind of just stuck with me. Ever since, especially when I started playing sports.
So let's talk about sports.
Yes.
So tell me your crystal clear moment when you knew you were good, like.
To be honest?
Yeah,
all right, I would say when I was probably 3 or 4, I'll say 4 years old. I knew I was pretty good. I think, I was born to play sports,
yes.
And I'm a kid that loved every sport. It didn't matter what sport it was. I fell in love with sport, and I loved the competition. I loved the different challenges. I loved everything about sports, and I'm the same way. I'm just a sports head.
Yeah.
I'm watching sports pretty much every day.
All right, so
whether it's
your
football,
house is
basketball, baseball, it has everything to do with sports.
Yeah.
And
you have like a sports house.
I do. I'm a sport but getting away from it, and my wife helps with that. We watch shows and do other things like that just to get away from sports because I just love sports.
Yeah, I can relate to that lifestyle, man.
and even for my hobbies, I like golf. It's just things. It's golf, and there's other things I like to do, but I'm just a sports head. Yeah. That's all.
So you were 3 or 4, and you knew. I'm good.
I would say 4 years old when I started competing.
So what were you like? You were
I was playing football. I started with football. Football was the very first sport.
Okay.
And that was the first sport I fell in love with.
What position were you playing?
I was a running back coming up, and I was converted to a wide receiver once I got to high school.
All right, so
They
you
said I was a
speedy,
little
you
too
can
small.
catch.
No, I was just small. I was just tough.
Yeah.
You know, I thought I was the
Yeah.
next Billy Sims. I used
Yeah,
to run the
okay.
ball. I would love to hit. I would love to get hit. I love just the physicality of playing football.
Were you flashy like most receivers?
When I was a receiver, no,
Yeah.
I just did my
your
my job,
job. Yeah.
and I was a hands catcher. So I wasn't the fastest, I wasn't the large, the biggest, but I could catch a football. You throw the football, I'm catching it with my hands, and I'm not going to drop the ball.
Yeah.
I took pride in that.
Yeah,
So
you
I
don't
was a
want that.
true receiver, but at the time I was only 5'4". So
Yeah. So you did the football, and that took you, for how long did you play football until you were introduced to baseball?
no, I played every sport. My mom actually signed me up because my dad was working. So, but my dad loved every sport too. He just supported, and he was more of a baseball guy. And but my mom, she signed me up for sports to keep me out of trouble. So I was in in the fall I was playing football, in the winter is basketball, in the spring it's baseball, and I split time in the summer between AAU basketball and baseball. But basketball would trump baseball, so I never really, really focused on baseball year round, or put a lot of time into baseball. I loved it, I competed, but it wasn't until I got to junior college where I really focused on baseball.
Really?
Yes,
So,
as far as
like high school, you played.
I played,
Yeah.
but it wasn't a sport that I put a lot of time and effort into. I played because I was.
It did find you.
Yeah, it did. It did.
Yeah.
I think, like I said, once I got to junior college, but I want to go all the way back to high school.
Okay.
So the football, I played football all the way up until my sophomore year of high school, and I stopped playing after that year because my football coach wanted me to quit baseball in the spring to run track.
Okay.
And he told me if I didn't quit baseball, I would not touch a blade of grass at Frederick Douglass High School. Wow. So that hurt. That crushed me. So at the age of 16, I had to make the hardest decision that I ever had to make in my life was decide to walk away from football. And I did. I decided I'm just going to focus on basketball. So from that moment on, I put all my time and effort into basketball. It was basketball and baseball, and that was it.
Wow. So your first love really is football.
Oh, it was football.
Yeah.
But you know what? To be honest with you, I loved every sport equally. I'm not lying. I loved every sport equally. And I'm the same way, to this day. Every sport I like. Of course, baseball is probably taking over a little bit, but I still have that love. Football season, I'm all about football. Basketball season, it's basketball, and then baseball season is all about
I can tell
baseball.
because you light up when you talk about all the sports, right? You light up.
And everyone that I know, everyone that knew me growing up knew that, like, no one even knew I played baseball at Frederick Douglass High School, because it wasn't a baseball program. It was a football, basketball powerhouse, and it's pride of the East Side, and you walking through metal detectors, you have your, it's on the East Side, and it's the school, Oklahoma City.
Okay, yeah.
And our rival was, Booker T. Washington in Tulsa.
Yeah.
That was our
I love the names because I grew up in a city where you had schools that was named after, African American heroes, So you have like Frederick Douglass High School, Booker T. Washington. My mother went to Crispus Attucks High School, back in we're talking 30s, 40s, so I love that, to hear that. It's just nice that we still have that exists.
My dad went to Douglass High School.
Yeah,
he went to Frederick Douglass, and my father was born in 1924.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So that was like that tradition and history was everything, and that's the high school that I wanted to go to.
Is it still there?
It's still there. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Good.
My sisters, my brother, my sisters went there. Almost everyone in my family went to Douglass High School.
I love that. That's cool. So for me, it's four of us, so I ended up going to, and I don't know what changed that, but I don't know. Because I really love schools. I ended up going to Catholic school.
Okay.
They were black Catholic schools. So I had a
right.
black priest. I had sisters, real sisters, they were nuns and all of that experience, but my older sisters and brothers, that was a lot of their experience. So let's talk about things. I'm always interested in birth order. So what's your sibling, like how do you fall on this sibling birth order?
I'm next to the youngest, but I
Okay.
am the baby boy. I have an older brother. My brother Curtis is the oldest.
Something about those baby boys.
Yeah, I'm a baby boy.
Tell you. I tell you.
I'm a baby boy.
Yeah.
So,
Right. So which is like your mother's baby forever.
Oh, yeah. For the most part, I think, they wanted to make sure, because my four sisters are the ones that, I spent the most time, and they wanted to make sure that, no, you're not going to be a punk. So they made sure that they didn't play. Yeah, they did not play.
And they were older than you too?
They were older than me, and I had a younger sister. But they didn't play. And I looked up to my sisters. I love them dearly, and we had a great upbringing, great childhood. I can't complain about it.
What a blessing. What a blessing. And that ties into probably just how your humility and the fact that you don't need validation from the world. So as I go back to me looking for you, not that people that have big bios, I'm not judging that. I'm just saying that struck out to me, that it was just not a lot there. And that did say something to me that, okay, that's who you are.
Yeah.
That's on purpose.
I got it from my dad. My dad pretty much raised me. That was my hero. That was my
awesome.
Everything. He's not here with us anymore, but I had my dad for 35 years of my life, and I'm extremely blessed to have him as long as I did.
That's cool.
He poured into me. He was present every moment, every minute. He was at every game. He didn't miss. He was there. So I got the support from my father.
So we hear all these statistics and the negative. We hear about black men and fathers, and that's just not your experience.
No, not at all.
And
not even
you
close.
Can't even probably relate to it.
No, I can't.
And
my parents, they divorced when I was, I think, my 8th grade year. And from my dad, but like I said, my dad was the one that was doing everything. So it was all my dad.
What did you learn from him specifically that you've taught your boys? Because Junior has 2 sons. So and you have one as a young adult in college and one in high school.
Right.
So your hands are full. Those are busy years.
Right.
Those are really. So what did you learn from your dad? That
being
you
present.
Taught them?
That was everything. Just being present, being supportive, having their back. Allowing me to grow, and accountability, being a man, growing up being a man and accepting responsibility. And that was everything. And, you put everything you can and everything you have into whatever it is you decide to do, no matter what, you're going to be successful. And so my dad allowed me to do that, no matter what. He didn't care he probably didn't even care if I played sports, as long as I was happy and I was enjoying what I was doing.
Yeah, that's really beautiful.
And that was the approach I took with my kids. If they played baseball, it's cool. If they didn't, it's all right. So I would always express to them, whatever you're doing, you're going to give 110% into it, and make sure you fall in love with it. You love it.
Yeah, so, that's important. It's that love, and have fun.
Oh, yeah, and definitely have fun.
Have fun and be in love with it. Just don't, because it's such a dedication.
Yes, it is.
So now we're entering like your junior college space. So, and at this point, you're like, baseball is probably my jam. You're not there yet?
No, we got to take it back again.
We got to take it back. So, okay, I like going back.
All right, let's go back. So, like I said, I had to walk away from football.
Okay.
And all my boys, they went on to play college football and basketball and things of that nature. I started focusing on basketball, so I earned a scholarship to Northwestern Oklahoma State University. So after high school,
you play?
I was a guard. Well, I was a shooting guard in high school. And
can you still shoot?
Oh, I once a shooter, always a shooter.
Okay. I knew you were going to say. Who's going to say they're not, right?
I can hold my own. I can brag about that. So, Coach Long would always say I'm a slasher, but I was more than that. I was a shooting guard. But once I got to college, they converted me to a point guard. You're not gonna find too many shooting guards under probably 6'2", 6'3". Right. So I was a point guard, and I got into some trouble at that school, and the basketball coach and the program wanted to take half of my scholarship, and I told them I wasn't a half a player. And I was like, I had to make a decision from there. So I was practicing with the baseball team, and Coach Joe Phillips saw that I had some talent. He said, I feel like, you got a chance to play at the next level. I think you should go to Cali and go to school to Cali. And I'm thinking he's talking California.
So let's pause a second and go back. So you start playing basketball,
Right.
and then life happens. You got into something, then you end up practicing.
I was practicing with team because I
so why were you
I
so how did you show up
couldn't
there?
play.
Was you just like hanging out? You knew some dudes on the team?
No, because baseball was still there.
Okay.
And I wanted to play, and I actually wanted to play at Northwestern.
Okay.
But the coach was like, I would love to keep you, I would love to have you, but being that I got into that trouble, he felt that he felt that my talent, I would grow and develop elsewhere, more so than stay there at Northwestern Oklahoma State. So he called Dave Burrows and gave him the rundown and talked to Dave. He talked to my dad and I, and he was like, hey, I can't promise you anything, but you're willing to come here on a clean slate and play here at Cali County Community College in Arkansas City, Kansas.
Oh, so you thought you was going to Cali?
Yeah, I thought I was going to California. No,
you thought you was going to the coast.
It was Arkansas City, Kansas. So
oh wow,
yeah, and it was the best move and the best decision I'd ever made. But that's when I really fell in love with baseball because this is the first time I'm actually putting energy into baseball.
Okay.
As far as working out in the weight room, competing in the pool, the workouts were unbelievable because they're trying to run you out. You're going to find out how much you really love baseball when you.
So were the workouts for baseball tougher than it is for football?
It was the toughest workout up until that point. It was the toughest workouts that I've ever come across.
Okay.
But
so you were stretched.
Yeah. But it was hard. It was hard. Playing basketball, I would get in shape. I would run for days. That didn't bother me. But the things that we were doing, and I really didn't lift a lot of weights in high school. I didn't want to mess up my basketball shot.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really messing with weights too much. So that was the first time I really put a lot of time into it. So and I fell in love with baseball even more because the more that I worked, the more time that I put into the sport, the more I fell in love with it because I saw results. I saw myself getting better every single day.
Right.
And Scott Hennessy, I can name all the guys, and Lefty, taking ground balls over and over and over, every day, thousands of ground balls. And I was able to get drafted. I was drafted after my first year of junior college by the St. Louis Cardinals.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's I would think that's rare for that to happen, because you usually have to spend some time. How long were you in the minors?
I spent 5 years in the minors before I got to the big leagues, but I got hurt 2 out of those 5 years. I was injured. So I was injured in 99 and 2000. That was the first time I was ever injured. So
so how was that psychological? Because when an athlete gets hurt, I always find that's like a huge test.
No, it wasn't because I knew it was a freak thing. It wasn't nothing.
Okay.
I dove after a ball. My first big league spring training. Was it my first? No, it wasn't my first. I think it was my second. Dove after a ball, tore the ligament in my thumb.
Okay.
So I ended up missing I would say about 2 months.
So not too
came
bad.
Back. Not too bad, but I came back and I'm doing well. And I broke my handmate out for the season.
Oh, wow.
That's how my story went in 1999. 2000, having a good season, and I ended up pulling my hamstring, kept trying to come back. First time I ever done this. Okay. So trying to. How
did that impact you?
It was fine. I never had, I'm tough. I'm old school. So I'm I'm going to fight through it, work through it.
I can definitely sense that too. Yeah. You definitely are old school. Spit on it.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to work through it. Hey, so every time I would try to come back, I would pull it even more, pull it, and then eventually I tore it out for the season.
So let's talk about that. So obviously you got that. Sounds like to me from your father. It's a grit.
His work.
It's a grit that you have that I sense from you and a resilience that you have.
My dad was a jack of all trades. I mean, he was a plumber. He was a mechanic. He's a chef.
I love people like that.
He did everything.
Where are they
He
at?
worked 2 and 3
not like
jobs.
That anymore.
He just did everything.
Yeah.
He was a deacon in the church. He did pretty much everything. So, just seeing him work around the house and doing all the little things he did. It was just unbelievable. So that work ethic, I believe it was instilled in me from my father.
Do you think that shows up for our generation now? Do you think it's missing? Because
it's definitely missing.
You get that people saying it's missing, or it shows up differently. So like your personal perspective.
I just think for me, when you can see it, when you see your parents and see your environment or people around you working that way, it's going to rub off on you. You're going to work. But
you learn from, especially learn from the environment that you're in.
Yes, I learned from my dad, and for my kids, they didn't see me because now I'm done playing, so I'm not doing anything. Right. So I had to try. Me and my wife, we had to try to instill that into our kids.
Right, because they didn't see you actually.
They didn't see me working.
So you just dad.
Exactly.
Your dad.
Yeah,
they don't know about all that.
They hear
stuff.
the stories, and they've been around their uncles, Uncle Matt and Uncle Donovan and Uncle Larry Fitzgerald, and I'm thinking McNabb and Kemp.
Right.
These are but they, and Kwame Lassiter, Uncle Kwame, like they didn't see us working when we're playing in our prime or anything like that. They called it at the tail end, so they never get a chance to see it. So
do you wish that maybe?
Of course.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Can they pull you up on YouTube? Because they look at everything.
Nah, because you know what? YouTube, we didn't have YouTube.
Right.
I only got a few things on YouTube.
Right. Yeah.
Not too much, but just I had the opportunity to coach them early on when it comes to baseball.
What kind of coach were you with your boys?
I was tough on them. I was
tougher than the other kids, or was it?
No, I was harder. I was harder on my kids.
Yeah.
They had to earn it.
Yeah.
Nothing was given to them, and they'll tell you that.
Yeah.
I was so much harder on them
than
any other kid.
Yeah, my husband, he coached baseball, the boys, and he was harder on them. I would be like most moms, we didn't like that.
Yeah, you would have to ask that. I don't think I was too hard, but I was hard on them. I didn't let them get away with anything.
And I'm sure in the car ride home from practice,
they didn't.
You had something to say.
Always.
Oh yeah.
Always.
I bet. Yeah.
But that's where you get better. I mean, that's where you look yourself in the mirror and like, you know what? He's right. You don't want to hear it at the time, but it's necessary to hear it.
It is.
And it's coming out of love.
Yeah.
And that's all. You just want them to be better. We want our kids to be better than us.
Yes, we do. I agree. We do. And so what are some things that you changed? Like said, okay, I don't think I'm going to do this with my kids.
Probably.
Look at that smile.
I'm a firm believer in, let me see. I don't want to get in trouble.
You ain't going to get it. I think I know where we going with this one.
I'm a firm believer in chastising your children.
Discipline.
Disciplining your children. So
I
was a firm believer. I'm old school. I'm a boy.
Yeah.
Because with my mom, man, I'm gonna try. I think I'm gonna get away with it. That's my mother.
Boys try to get away with
she's a girl.
everything.
I'm gonna try her, and I would try her all the time.
Yes.
But
yes.
my mom didn't play that.
Yeah.
My mother did not play that.
Right.
So, but I respected the belt.
Yeah. Hey, I know it. I understand
and
that.
I know what it did for me.
Yeah.
It kept me out of a lot of trouble.
Right. Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure that they didn't get into any kind of trouble, and they weren't followers.
Yeah.
And they respected the belt.
Yeah. So funny story. I had like a guilty moment, because all the talk about you shouldn't. Now they call gentle parenting.
Oh man, no.
I know. So
now when it comes to boys,
right? I'm a boy mom. So to your point, I'm a girl, and they get to a certain age, they look at you eye to eye. So it's like she's just mom. So I disciplined.
Right.
I had to.
Right.
So I felt a little guilty about a year ago, and I went to my youngest son, who's like 25, and I was like, was I really hard on you? I was like feeling like, did I really hurt you? And he was like, Mom, I needed it. He said, as a matter of fact, if you knew all the stuff we did, you would have been harder on us. So I just for a moment I was like, then I thought back, no, we're good. Discipline, and everybody disciplines differently, but I respect what you're saying. I think most of my listeners get that.
Well, I think back on my childhood and some of my friends I had around me, that maybe wasn't as fortunate to have their dads or anything like that. But, I'm blessed. I had both parents at the time. I had them, and, they definitely disciplined me. And my father didn't have to do so much. It was just his voice, his presence alone. I'm like, oh, no, I need to straighten up. So. I'm blessed that I did.
Not
have
moms.
That.
Moms have to go the
Mom,
extra mile.
Right. I'm
do
going
all
to challenge
kind of
mom.
stuff.
I'm going to do some
Right.
things. I get.
We got to be
laugh.
psycho.
I get a little spanking. I'm laughing
Yeah.
about it. Like, okay, yeah.
Right.
I'm pretending I'm crying and acting crazy.
Oh, yeah.
But,
I remember when I busted them doing that
right,
too.
right.
Like, ouch,
Right,
and
right,
I'm laughing.
right,
Yeah,
right.
definitely.
But no, my mother, she did not play at all. At all.
I think discipline. So I think being an athlete, discipline is a foundational principle. I mean,
100%.
you cannot even. I mean, I think discipline in all things is a principle, but especially in something like being an athlete. So, and the athletes that I do know, and I know quite a few. That's the one trait that I think that is. I value. I value discipline because when someone doesn't have it, they just move differently.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
They move completely different. So how has your discipline that you have, and let's say it started at 3, because discipline grows with you. You just don't wake up one day and you're like, I'm disciplined. It grows with you. How does it show for you currently in your life?
I just think when you love something, you're going to do everything you can to make sure that you're doing what it takes to make it right. Whatever it is, whether that's sports, whether that's business, you need that discipline to propel and to grow and to be successful. Without it, you don't have anything. You got to have that discipline. You need structure. There's a lot of things that goes into it, and discipline. Like, I'm going to do things when I don't want to do them. I'm going to do them anyway because even though I don't feel like doing it, I'm going to get up. I know I need to work out. I know I need to do the things that I need to do no matter what, and I'm going to do it. So, and nothing's going to get in the way of that at all. And
So
that's always been my approach.
And so you have 2 sons. It's always one that has more discipline than the other. You don't have to tell me who it is, but it's always one that's like, has more discipline than the other. It just shows up that way. I don't know.
They both have a lot. They have the discipline, and it just shows up
differently.
It is differently.
It's just different.
Their personalities are so different. It's just and they're both competitive, and it's just hard to really say who has more than the other because they both have it. They're both. I love the fact that they want to compete.
Yeah, that's good.
They want to compete.
And
they want to better. They want to be good.
Yeah.
And that's a good trait to have.
Right, absolutely. Especially as they transition to adult life, wherever it takes them.
Right.
You need that. I mean, you need that. You can't be half stepping.
Right.
You become full step all the time.
And like we want them to compete in the classroom. Just same way they compete in sport.
You got it.
Compete in the classroom.
Right. Because that's the longevity there.
Yes,
that's the long game.
Right, exactly.
That really is the long game.
1,000%.
Yeah.
1,000%.
And that was a strategy that we were adamant about. We love sports. It did great for our sons, but education was like, that's the long game. That's why we're showing up.
Right.
So don't miss that. So and I think we're seeing more families really raising, especially athletes, like student athletes, really making them think like a student athlete when they're younger. So when they go to college, they're already moving that way.
Right.
Because it's a different student when you're in that space.
Oh yeah.
So I want to talk about your years when you were playing the major leagues. So tell me, share one of your moments that you relive in your head that was like your best moment as a player. Like you think about that and
it was quite a bit. I couldn't just pinpoint one. I would try, but what I loved the most about even playing in the big leagues was just the journey to get there. The journey to get there to me is more is a bigger piece than just actually being in the moment, playing in the big leagues, being a part of the World Series team.
Right.
Making the All-Star team and playing for the different teams I played for. It's just the journey. Dreaming. Yeah, just dreaming with all these young guys around the same age, and you're dreaming together. You're working together, and you're motivating. You're pushing one another. You're holding each other accountable. I think that to me stands out more than anything. And there was a lot of guys that I played with along their journey, and most of them reached their goal. They played in the big leagues. And
I love that you said, and I haven't. No one's ever really said this. Dreaming together.
Yeah,
like that is That is powerful.
Oh yeah,
That's powerful
stuff.
Stuff. Seriously,
We used to do it every
you
day,
know,
every night.
you
we
know,
dream
because-
about like
yeah.
what we're going to do once we get there. Like how's it
Right.
going to look? We've already played it out in our head that what we were going to do and how we were going to be successful. So
yeah, I love that. And
Yeah.
then to be able to do it in a safe space with people that share, like you, shared values, shared visions,
Oh, yeah.
shared goals, and that had to inspire you to want to be better, because that's accountability just in itself.
Oh,
When
yeah.
you share your dream with someone, it's almost like they can hold you accountable.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it, and that kept us out of trouble. We knew knew what we had to do, and we've had fun doing it, and we pushed each other.
Yeah,
And they could play, they were good, and that you always want to be able to surround yourself around players that's better than you or just as good, because you're going to continue to push and grow, and iron sharpens iron.
Right.
So,
Yes, I say that a lot. Yeah.
and that's what we did. That's what we did, and we had so much fun. There's so many great memories.
Yeah.
I think the journey of getting there, was everything, and we talk about it all the time.
It is about the journey. So the journey settles down for you after your 5 years, and you in your career for the
once we got there,
Diamondbacks.
so that was what I was speaking of was all minor league.
Yeah.
Just that journey,
Yeah.
and then once I got there, and my first major league start, I think I went 2 for 3 with a home run, collected my first hit, first RBI, and home run. And
'Cause you played second base, right?
Base,
Okay.
second base. So, that moment, that was just an unbelievable moment.
Yeah. How was it stepping on the field when you knew you made it? You in the majors.
I already felt like I already should have been there.
That's what I like. Yes,
I already should have been there. I was
visualize yourself there.
100%.
Yes.
It was just like,
I get that.
it was just delayed. It just took a while because of the injuries to set me
Right.
back, and then I had to go through some adversity, especially that year I did get called up. I'm coming off an injury and I'm struggling. This is the first time I'm actually struggle as bad as I was struggling. But while everyone else was getting better, I was rehabbing, trying to get back on the field, and they're getting stronger and faster and working on their craft. But and so for me, that was a tough time. Just trying to overcome that and get through that mentally.
What did you do?
No, I just kept working at it. I mean, I knew I'm healthy, so
Right.
it had nothing to do with the health. I knew I was, it's just a matter of time once I get hot and get going.
Patient and
Yeah,
just
it had to be, and just keep
follow the
grinding.
process.
It's a grind.
It's a grind.
It
But
is
life is a
definitely a
grind.
grind.
When you really,
Yes, it is.
When you really go for your purpose or why you here, it should feel like a grind.
Right.
And that's just my opinion. I think and I'm not saying you got to be at a 10 at all times, but you need to be invested.
What you do, and you also can't take it too serious because it's baseball. It's every day. At the end of the day, it's a game, and you can get in your own head every single day. So
What is that like, getting in your own head?
I say I went 0 for 4 today, and then I have a game tomorrow. I got to flush that and forget about
you
that
do.
0 for 4 and have short-term memory and work.
Yeah.
And, with positive, thinking is like, hey, I'm okay and I'm prepared. And that's the most important thing is your preparation. That's
But
how I was
you said a
able
lot
to.
there, though. I
Yeah.
think for you, it's like autopilot. But I think for a lot of people, Junior, that's very difficult. So, for those who don't really follow baseball, you guys have, how many games? 162 games.
But really
a year.
200 if you want to include
If you go
spring
into
training and
if
the
you go to
playoffs,
right?
So it's 200
at
games.
minimum
so
664 games.
You can't dwell on any of
and
the
that's
negative
a lot.
stuff.
That's like back
You have
to
a bad
back.
game,
Yeah.
it's over. It's flushed. All right, on to the next. Like you can't think.
So
about
you just train your mind to go.
You have to. You
on
have no
to the
choice.
next one.
You have no
Yeah.
choice.
Yeah.
If you're worrying about that,
Yeah,
you're going to
make
get
it.
stuck in a rut and in a funk that you can't get out of. That monkey will get on your back and you won't be able to shake it off.
Do you use that as a tool in life?
Of course, you can't worry about the things that you can't control.
Right.
Why worry about them?
Yeah.
Like I don't believe in stress. Like why am I like?
I heard that.
like
So you sound
what can
believe
you
in
do?
stress.
Like what
Right,
can you do about it? Like what can
yeah,
you do?
right.
If there's something you can do about it, you'll do something
do
about
it, right.
Right. But the things you can't control and do anything about, like.
So can you tell the country right now?
I don't know. I'm just saying. I mean, that's just my approach. I don't know if it's the right approach or
Yeah.
not. But my dad was always cool and calm and
Yeah.
collective, and
Yeah.
didn't have much, but you never see it. You could never tell. You could never tell. So that's just me. I mean, what can I do?
Yeah.
So, I just gotta move on. I just control the controllables, and that's it.
Yeah.
Can't worry
Control
about
the controllables.
things that you can't control.
Definitely. I know when I work with organizations, usually I work with like leaders, C-suite and maybe below, and oftentimes their stress comes from the things they can't control.
You can't.
But what you can control, my thing is control it.
Yeah, you control your attitude.
Your
approach,
your attitude, your approach.
Your thought process, like how
absolutely.
you, just how you view things, your perception of things. So it's not what you go through in life; it's how you overcome it. You're like, I can't worry about those things.
Right,
So
right.
we've had outlets. It's baseball. We find an outlet somehow, some way to get away.
What do you like to do for fun?
Listen to music, play dominoes,
Like what
play
are you
spades.
listening to right now? I know.
I got a little
crazy.
bit of everything. I got 90s R&B going right now.
Okay.
I have some 2000s R&B. I'm just kind of playing with that right now.
We can't shake the 90s and 2000 R&B,
man,
right?
Fire.
I know it.
80s R&B.
Yeah.
I got a little.
So you got a little Luther too?
I got a little everything.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we can't shake that good R&B. So, and then you like to listen to music. What else?
I like watching shows on television. I like reading, and there's quite a few things. Like I said, spades. I like playing spades.
Yeah.
I like being
Well, I
around
know you
family.
like to play cards.
Right. Family, friends.
Yeah.
I really enjoy other people's company. I think I really do.
That's
So.
good. You're good people.
Yeah.
You are. Really,
I'm
this has been
okay.
really great.
I'm
Yeah,
okay.
I think you
I'm
are.
okay.
I think if I went out and did a survey, I think it'd all come
I'm
back.
okay.
Yeah, I think you would definitely come up on the right side.
Right,
As
right,
old
right.
folks would say, you want to be on the right side.
but traveling, spending time with my family, really enjoy that. Really enjoy just watching our kids, play sports and do the things that they love to do. I remember we used to go to the older son's chess matches and watch them play chess, play the piano. That was just being around family. I really enjoy that. That's fun.
I can tell that's a core.
Yeah.
That's a core.
Oh,
At the end of the day, it's family. You're always with your wife and your sons. Whenever me and my husband see you, all we do is talk about our families, which is not that that's all you do, but and we love that because that's kind of how we are. We love talking about family, and that's that's definitely the core of who we are. That's first, second, and last. That's all things. So I respect that, and it shows up. It shows up in how you're navigating with your family and your sons, and in your disposition. And again, you got that from your dad, so you know the source. So now we got another generation, of Spivey men.
Yeah.
To conquer the world, right?
Yeah, I just want them to be better than their dad. That's all.
Yeah, that's it. That's a tall order,
Mm-hmm.
but doable. It's doable.
Of course, without a question. I have no doubt in my mind they're going to be better dads and better husbands and just better friends and better citizens than I was. So that's all we can ask for.
So I know you are a give back guy, because of all the things people have given to you. So what are some of the things that you enjoy supporting others in sports? Because I know you're the kind of guy, if somebody came up to you and said, hey, can I get some advice? You're open enough to say, hey, this is what I think, in my opinion,
100%. Just working with the next generation of professional athletes. It doesn't matter what sport that is, just helping them along their journey and helping them, go through obstacles and navigate through the obstacles and the pits and falls that they perhaps may go through. Foundation-wise, the Kwame Lassiter Foundation, and Kwame was a close friend of mine, and I just want to continue to do whatever I can to help their foundation, and Jerry Colangelo's foundation, the Pop Foundation. It's just there's so many out there that I'm a part of that I'm going to give my time and do everything I can to help raise money and just be a service in any way I can be.
That's good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Ginger, thank you for taking your time out and hanging with me and sharing.
Absolutely,
and this has been great.
No.
So before we go, one last question. I ask everyone this.
Okay.
So now we're in 2025. So if you could put one word, what's one word that represents, what does this year look like for you? If you had to place a word. So I'll share my word to give you an idea. So mine's is resilience.
Okay.
So what pops up for you?
Ooh, that's a good one. I would say persevering. You know, I think we're headed into some tough times, as you know, as the economy is going to. I think we just have to persevere. You know, I think so. You know, as let me think. I'm just trying to think. I'm not trying to become too political.
No,
I'm not
listen,
trying to get, you know.
It's your voice.
Yeah. No, I know. But I just think perseverance is everything.
Yeah.
You know, really persevering. I just think we also need to come together. But 2025 is persevering and just coming together. We're stronger together, you know, as a country. So hopefully, I pray that we can do that.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Junior product of Frederick Douglass.
That's right.
But elementary school,
No,
right?
high school.
High school, right?
School.
You gotta
Pride
say
of the
Frederick.
East Side.
Yes, definitely.
Pride
Thank you
of the East
for showing
Side.
up and representing.
True Trojan.
Yes.
Trojan.
Love it. Look
That's
at that.
right.
Look at you poked your chest
Oh
out
yeah,
when you said it.
That's how we do.
Love
That's
it,
how we
love
do.
it. Thank you, and
thank
you everyone for tuning in to Crystal Clear Moments. And remember, continue to download my podcast and rate me. I'm at a 5.0, so keep me at a 5.0. Thank you so much for giving me your time and your space, and continue to live the light. Thank
Absolutely.
you.